Liam and I were the couple everyone envied. High school sweethearts, married for 10 years, with 2 beautiful kids, a house in the suburbs. We had it all. Or so I thought. Our life was a picture-perfect postcard of happiness, and Liam was the steady, loving center of my world. He was the kind of man who still held my hand during movies, who left little notes in my lunchbox, and who believed our love was a forever kind of thing. I believed it too, with every fiber of my being, till the day that postcard was ripped to shreds. It started subtly, a new password on his phone, late nights at the office, a sudden obsession with the gym. I brushed it off. We were busy. Life was hectic. I was juggling the kids, my part-time job, and the household. I trusted him. Why wouldn't I? This was Liam, my Liam, the man who promised to grow old with me. But a nagging feeling, a cold knot of dread, began to tighten in my stomach. It was a sixth sense, an intuition I couldn't ignore, no matter how much I wanted to. One Tuesday, he said he was working late on a big project. I decided to surprise him with his favorite dinner. The kids were at my mom's for the night, and I envisioned a quiet, romantic evening to reconnect. I packed a basket with his favorite steak, a bottle of red wine, and a slice of cheesecake. I drove to his office downtown, my heart fluttering with anticipation. But when I got there, the building was dark. His car wasn't in the parking lot. A wave of confusion, then panic, washed over me. I called his phone, straight to voicemail. Project meeting ran late, babe. At a hotel conference room. Don't wait up. His text came through a minute later. A hotel. He'd never had a meeting at a hotel before. The cold knot in my stomach became a churning vortex of fear. My hands were shaking, but I drove to the hotel he mentioned. It was a high-end place near the river, the kind couples go to for romantic getaways. I sat in my car for what felt like an eternity, my mind racing. Am I crazy? Am I about to destroy my marriage over a misunderstanding? I almost drove home a dozen times telling myself I was being paranoid, but I couldn't. I had to know. Taking a deep breath, I walked into the lobby. I didn't know what I was looking for. I just walked, my eyes scanning the restaurant, the bar, and then I saw them. Liam was at a small, candlelit table in the corner of the hotel lounge. He was laughing, his head tilted in that way he does when he's completely captivated. Across from him, holding his hand, was a woman. She was young, blonde, and looking at my husband with an adoration I recognized because it used to be mine. It was his new assistant, Chloe. The one he'd mentioned was so brilliant and a real go-getter. Time stopped. The air left my lungs. The entire world narrowed to that one gut-wrenching scene. It wasn't a business meeting. It was a date. The way he looked at her, the way his thumb stroked the back of her hand, it was a betrayal so profound it physically hurt. I felt a scream building in my throat, but nothing came out. I was frozen, invisible, a ghost watching the demolition of her own life. I turned and walked out before they could see me, my legs moving on autopilot. I drove home in a daze, the untouched dinner basket sitting on the passenger seat like a cruel joke. When Liam came home after midnight, smelling of wine and a perfume that wasn't mine, he tiptoed into the bedroom, thought I was asleep. He leaned down to kiss my cheek, and I flinched. My eyes snapped open, and in the dim light he saw the raw, silent agony on my face. "What's wrong?" he asked, his voice laced with fake concern. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just looked at him, and with a voice I didn't recognize as my own, I said, "How was your meeting with Chloe?" The color drained from his face. The carefully constructed world of lies he had built crumbled in an instant. There were no more excuses, no more late nights at the office to hide behind. There was only the ugly, devastating truth hanging in the air between us. He tried to deny it, of course. The frantic, clumsy lies tumbled out of his mouth. But his eyes, his guilty, panicked eyes, told me everything I needed to know. The man I had loved for half my life, the father of my children, the one who believed in our forever, had just destroyed it. The days that followed were a blur of pain. He begged, he cried, he promised it was a mistake, that it meant nothing. But how could it mean nothing? He had shared a part of himself with someone else, a part that was supposed to be mine alone. The image of them in that restaurant, holding hands, was burned into my memory. Every "I love you" he had ever said now felt like a lie. Every shared memory was tainted. Our home, once my sanctuary, felt like a prison filled with ghosts of a life that was no longer real. I had to tell the kids. So that was the hardest part. Trying to explain to a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old that Daddy wasn't going to live with us anymore without making him the villain was a soul-crushing task. Their confusion and tears were like daggers in my already shattered heart. This wasn't just my pain. He had shattered their world too. His one truth, his one betrayal, had a ripple effect that touched everyone we loved. I found a strength I never knew I had. I filed for divorce. I packed up his things. I leaned on my friends and family, who rallied around me like a shield. There were days I could barely get out of bed, overwhelmed by the grief and anger. But then I would look at my children's faces, and I knew I had to keep going. For them, and for me, I had to rebuild from the rubble. Slowly, very slowly, the sun began to peek through the clouds. I started therapy, focused on my kids, on my job, on rediscovering the person I was outside of being Liam's wife. It was a long, arduous journey. There were setbacks, moments of profound loneliness and doubt. But with each passing day, I felt a little stronger, a little more whole. I learned to forgive, not for him, but for me. I had to let go of the anger to move forward. Today, my life looks nothing like that picture-perfect postcard, and that's okay. It's real, it's messy, it's challenging, but it's mine. My kids are happy and resilient. I've built a new life, a new home, a new sense of self. I learned that forever isn't something another person can promise you. It's something you have to build within yourself. Liam's betrayal was the most painful experience of my life, but it didn't destroy me. It forced me to find a strength I never knew I possessed, and for that, in a strange way, I'm grateful. The truth that destroyed everything I loved also set me free to build something new, something stronger, something true. Thank you so much for watching and for being a part of this community. If you connected with this story, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content. Your support means the world. See you next time.